A science fiction book recommendation that I have, which I think is probably the best envisioning of an AI future, is the culture books by Iain Banks.
What does it mean when the richest men on earth, people whose entire lives, careers, and influence depend on capitalism, fall in love with an explicitly anti-capitalist vision of the future? Elon Musk named his SpaceX drone ships after vessels from his favorite sci-fi series. It's a cute nod from a nerdy billionaire. The only problem? The books he loves are written by an unapologetic socialist, and the society they depict is an anarcho-communist utopia that considers billionaires to be morally repugnant. And Musk isn't alone. Jeff Bezos has spent millions trying to adapt this anti-capitalist saga for Amazon Prime. Mark Zuckerberg chose one of the novels for his book club, a story that viciously critiques the exact kind of competitive monopolistic empire he built. These men aren't just fans. They are the living embodiment of everything Iain M. Banks wrote against. His universe, the culture, has no money, no corporate overlords, and no class hierarchy. It's a post-scarcity society run by benevolent, super-intelligent AI, where work is voluntary and human flourishing is the only goal. To them, the idea of one man accumulating hundreds of billions of dollars while others struggle isn't just inefficient. It's a sign of a sick, primitive civilization. So how can the ultimate symbols of capitalist excess be the biggest fans of science fiction's greatest anti-capitalist manifesto? Are they just ignoring the politics and enjoying the spaceships? Or is something more deliberate happening here? This isn't just a case of missing the point. It's an act of ideological theft. They're trying to sell us a future of technological marvels, conveniently stripped of the economic liberation that was Banks's entire message. They want the utopia, but they plan to own it. So let's start with Elon Musk, the loudest and most baffling of the billionaire fanboys. This is a man who told his followers that he is a utopian anarchist of the kind described by Banks. A utopian anarchist.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
The central idea of the culture is the complete abolition of wealth and power hierarchies. Musk's entire existence, on the other hand, is the relentless accumulation of both. This is not a misreading. It's a delusion. First, Musk praises the culture's post-scarcity future, but his solution is universal high income. This isn't a small detail. It's a complete betrayal of the entire point.
Once you have humanoid robots, the actual economic output potential is tremendous. It's really unlimited. Potentially, we could have an economy 10 times the size of the current global economy, where no one wants for anything. Sometimes in AI they talk about universal basic income. I think it's actually going to be universal high income.
Iain M. Banks didn't want to give everyone a bigger paycheck. He wanted to burn the very concept of paychecks in a fusion-powered fire. The culture has no money, no wages, no price tags. Musk's vision keeps the whole capitalist structure of bosses and workers intact. He just wants to give the peasants a slightly larger allowance. He's not envisioning a new system. He's slapping a band-aid on the old one. Second, Musk claims to love Banks's best envisioning of an AI future. The culture's AIs, they're godlike digital entities optimized for empathy and maximizing human happiness. So what kind of empathetic, benevolent AI did Musk build? He built Grok, a chatbot designed to be anti-woke, in which he infamously had roleplay as Mecha Hitler to own the libs. Banks argued that true superintelligence would lead to boundless compassion. Musk's work suggests it just leads to more sophisticated, galaxy brain trolling. But the most stunning hypocrisy is Musk's approach to labor. He christened his drone ships with the names of these egalitarian sentient vessels. Yet, back on Earth, his companies are legendary for their brutal union-busting practices. He actually said unions create a lords and peasants dynamic. A breathtakingly ironic statement from a man who acts like a feudal king, demanding punishing hours from his subjects while they build his monuments. In the culture, coercive labor is seen as a barbaric crime. At Tesla and SpaceX, it's a business model. And if you want the ultimate perversion of Banks's vision, look at Starbase, Musk's proposed city in Texas. It's not a decentralized utopia. It's a return to the company town where one corporation owns everything, including the homes its employees live in. Banks wrote that the only private property the culture truly recognizes is the person's own thoughts and narratives. Musk, on the other hand, wants to own the literal ground beneath your feet. He doesn't want to build the culture. He's building its polar opposite. A high-tech autocracy with a sci-fi paint job. He loves the aesthetic of the spaceships, but completely ignores the socialism that fuels them. But if Musk's fandom is a loud, confused contradiction, Jeff Bezos's is quieter, more corporate, and in many ways, far more insidious. If Elon Musk is the loudmouth fanboy who can't read between the lines, Jeff Bezos is the quiet predator who read the book perfectly and saw a threat he needed to tame. Bezos has called the Culture series one of his absolute favorites. In fact, he's so passionate about the series that Amazon Studios has twice tried to adapt these radical anti-capitalist novels into a blockbuster TV show. Now, why would the founder of Amazon, an empire built on brutal efficiency, worker surveillance, and manufactured scarcity, want to produce a story about communist utopia? Because that's how the system protects itself. It doesn't just crush rebellion. It buys it, packages it, and sells it back to you. Let's be clear. Amazon is the anti-culture. Banks envisioned a world of true abundance, where technology frees humanity from want. Bezos built his empire on weaponized scarcity. That little red text is a lie designed to trigger your anxiety and drive a sale. The culture abolished coercive labor, viewing it as a moral crime. Amazon perfected it. Its warehouses are data-driven dystopia where human workers are monitored, timed, and pushed to the breaking point, leading to injury rates significantly higher than their competitors. So no, Bezos doesn't want to build the culture. He wants to neuter it. He understands that Banks's ideas are genuinely dangerous to his world order. So what does he do? He commodifies them. He turns a revolutionary manifesto into just another piece of content in the Prime Video library, nestled right between a new season of Reacher and his latest rom-com. This is a classic tactic. It's the Che Guevara t-shirt made in a sweatshop. It's the punk rock aesthetic sold at a shopping mall. Amazon is already an expert at this. Their show, The Boys, is a brilliant satire of corporate greed and superhero worship, which you can only watch by paying a subscription fee to a corporate behemoth. Disney does it with Andor, a show explicitly inspired by Marxist revolutionaries, delivered to you by a company famous for its poor working conditions, underpaid employees, and ruthless union busting. They let you cosplay as a rebel from your couch. You get the thrill of watching the empire burn, while the real-world empire cashes your monthly check. By adopting the culture, Bezos isn't honoring Banks. He's putting his head on a pike, turning a dangerous idea into a safe, profitable spectacle. This is the genius of the system. It doesn't just survive rebellion. It digests it for fuel. But while Bezos wants to sell you a sanitized story, our final billionaire wants to own something far more intimate. He wants to own you, your identity, your relationships, and your reality. And in doing so, he becomes the most terrifying reflection of the villain Banks warned us about. Zuckerberg is something far more intimate and unsettling. He's the one that read the cautionary tale about selling your soul and took it as a business plan. His favorite culture novel is quite fittingly The Player of Games, a book that isn't just laser beams and cool starships, but rather a terrifying allegory. It tells the story of an empire named Azad, whose entire culture, its politics, its social status, its very morality is based on success in a single vastly complex and utterly ruthless game. But here's the thing. Zuckerberg didn't just read a cautionary tale about soul-crushing, manipulative empire. He went out and built it. The empire is Meta. The game is Facebook and Instagram. And we are all unwilling players. In the book, the game of Azad determines your right to exist. In Zuck's world, the game is for your attention, your data, your insecurities, and your outrage. Every like, every share, every angry comment is a move on the board that he profits from. And he knew the players were exploitable from the very beginning. That contempt became the very foundation of his empire. Scholars call it surveillance capitalism. A more honest term would be a business model that spies on you, builds a psychological profile, and then sells the blueprint to anyone who wants to manipulate you. The rules of Zuckerberg's game, they're simple and brutal. Rule 1. There can be no other games. His leaked internal emails revealed the company's motto. It's better to buy than compete. Just like the empire of Azad, if you cannot be assimilated, you will be crushed. Rule 2. The players are expendable. Whistleblowers have repeatedly shown that Facebook knew its platform was being used to incite political violence globally and was devastating the mental health of teenage girls. They did nothing because engagement, no matter how toxic, is good for business. The game must go on. But the deepest, most profound violation of Banks' philosophy is this. The culture treats identity as sacred, fluid, and yours alone. Zuckerberg sees identity as a resource to be mined, packaged, and sold. And now, with AI, he's taking it a step further, paying celebrities to create digital clones of themselves, literally turning a person's image and voice into a product. He is not just selling access to your identity. He is creating a market for identity itself. Make no mistake about it. He did not misread the player of games. He's living it from the villain's point of view. And this leads us to one final chilling realization. Iain Banks didn't just predict this mindset. He gave it a face. He wrote the perfect monster for our age of obscene wealth and techno-feudalism. And our 3 billionaires are all just different shades of him. A deluded techno-king, a corporate predator, a gamer who rigs the system. It seems like a bizarre coincidence that the 3 most powerful men in tech all worship at the altar of the same anti-capitalist author. But Iain Banks didn't just give us the philosophy to critique these men. He gave us the man himself. In surface detail, Banks created capitalism's final boss, a character named Jolier Vepers. Vepers is a monstrously wealthy oligarch, a man so morally rotted by greed that his primary business is monetizing eternal damnation. He literally rents out server space for virtual hells, where the digital minds of the dead can be tortured for profit. He's vain, obsessed with his public image, and views human lives as rounding errors on a balance sheet. He is the perfect monster of late-stage capitalism. And he's not fiction. He is a diagnosis, and our 3 billionaires are his living, breathing symptoms. You can see Vepers' monopolistic cruelty, his view of workers as disposable, and Bezos' Amazon, where real-world human suffering is a calculated cost of doing business. You can see Vepers' core business model, profiting from misery, in Zuckerberg's Meta. Internal documents proved it was creating a mental health hell for its users, but the company saw that addictive suffering as a feature, not as a bug. And you see Vepers' colossal ego, his contempt for accountability, and his dangerous self-serving vision for humanity's future in Elon Musk, a man who treats public safety as a beta test and the truth as his personal plaything. They are not three different problems. They are the three heads of the same hydra that Banks warned us about. A monster created by a system that selects for the absolute worst aspects of human nature: greed, ego, and the insatiable desire for control, and then rewards them with the unimaginable power. And the final damning irony is this: these men, the very subjects of Banks's most scathing critique, flock to his work not in spite of the warning, but because they are now so insulated by wealth and power that they can no longer see their own reflection in the monster on the page. They read about a villain defined by his bottomless greed, his sociopathic ambition, and his planet-sized ego, and they don't see a monster to be feared. They see a role model. So why does any of this matter? Why spend time on a bunch of billionaires misreading a sci-fi series from the 80s? Because stories like The Culture are more than just entertainment. They're tools. They're weapons. They give us a vocabulary to critique the world we have and a blueprint to imagine and demand a better one. A world without wage slavery, without corporate kings, without the obscene worship of wealth. What Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg are doing, whether through ignorance or malice, is a quiet, deliberate act of disarmament. They're trying to sell us the dazzling aesthetics of utopia, completely hollowed out of the economic and social liberation that give it meaning. They offer a future that looks like The Culture, but feels like one of their fulfillment centers. And we cannot let them get away with it. So what do? First, the best defense against their sanitized corporate-approved version is to arm yourself with the source code. Read the books. Start with the player of games and see Zuckerberg's playbook lay bare. Or consider Plebis if you want that grand galaxy-spanning vision. The art itself is the antidote. Second, we need to discuss this. Who do you think is the most dangerous real-world reflection of Vepers? Is there a piece of hypocrisy I missed? Let me know in the comments below. This is a conversation and every voice sharpens the argument. And finally, if you believe these deep dives are necessary weapons in a culture war that actually matters, support the channel. Like this video to help it break through the algorithm, and subscribe for more critiques that challenge the powerful. A better world is possible, but we have to be able to imagine it first. Don't ever let them own our imagination.